Alrighty, it is almost 8:30. It's Wednesday, one of my favorite days of the week. It was the day I was born on. And I want you to come on in and listen, share about what I want to talk a little bit about tonight. It is the Big Facts Money Show. It's Carmen with Big Facts. And we want to talk. But first, I want to read you a little something. It's directly related to what I want to talk to you about. And this came across my computers this morning. And by the way, hit that love button, hit that share button, because somebody needs to know this information. All right. So hit that like button, hit the love button, hit that share button. And if you happen to be listening to this on replay, go ahead and hit hashtag replay. Listen, y'all. I know that many of you are listening to me because I run into you and you say, listen, I heard you and I saw you, but you did not hit the like button. I don't know that you've heard me and seen me. I don't know that. So the way it is, if you're passing by and you pause, you stop to listen for a little, hit that like button, say something. Okay. All right. So tonight on this show, the Big Facts Money Show, I want to talk a little bit about medical debt. And I have been talking about medical debt and how it impacts us in today's society. We have the majority of bankruptcies happen from medical debt, even though people have health insurance. So we want to talk a little bit about what can we do to prevent it. I'm not going to be on here for long, but I just want to talk about this. So this came across my iPad this morning, and it says the Biden administration has proposed banning medical debt from credit reports. That's going to be a boss move right there. You heard it first. You heard it here from the boss lady. That's going to be a boss move. The move would raise the credit scores of more than 15 million Americans by an average of 20 points. That's going to lead to the approval of about 22,000 more mortgages annually. There are people who are unable to purchase a home because of medical debt that is reported on their credit reports. And this is all according to a fact sheet from the Office of Vice President Kamala Harris. The proposed rule would also ban, get it, y'all, the proposed rule would also ban lenders from using medical devices such as wheelchairs and prosthetic limbs, as collateral for loans. I didn't even know we were doing that. It also will bar them from repossessing those devices if the patients are unable to repay those loans. All right. See me looking over here. I also have my live going here, a video going here, so I have to pay both attention. All right. The rule could be finalized as early as next year, and listen to this number, staggering. Some 46 million people had medical debt listed on their credit reports in 2020, according to the fact sheet. So I don't know what you think. I think that this would be a good thing for people to be able to buy a home, and that the only thing that's stopping them from buying a home is medical debt that they ran into because of one reason or another, right? As I stated before, many bankruptcies, I think the number is like 50% or close to 50% of bankruptcies are caused by medical debt, even though people have health insurance. But I found an article that I'd like to go through a little bit. So I'm going to read and then talk a little bit, read and then talk a little bit about it. But in this article, it states that almost a quarter of middle class Americans, almost a quarter of middle class Americans, or about 17 million people, had unpaid health care bills in 2020, right? A larger share of those with higher incomes and lower incomes on the income scale. And that compares, that 17 million, or that quarter, it says a quarter, 25%. That compares with 22% of lower income Americans and just under 13% of higher income Americans, according to a report from the U.S. Census Bureau. So middle class are always getting squeezed. The middle class people, and let me tell you, the middle class are defined as people that's earning incomes. A family of three earning an income between $50,000 and $100,000 annually. Right? That's the heart of the middle class. That's why we say we are here to help save middle America. I'm going to talk to you tonight about some things that you can do to help prevent these things from happening, right? What are some steps that you can take, okay? Once again, I am not giving any personal, financial, or medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I am no legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not none of any of those things. This is for educational purposes only. All right. So, although the middle class has higher rates of good health insurance than lower income Americans, the financial squeeze is exacerbated by several factors. Those in the middle class, listen to this, guys, those in the middle class are less likely to avoid care because of the cost, but they're also less likely to qualify for medical assistance or financial assistance, right? And debt relief as compared with some people that earn less, right? So you guys know if you earn a certain amount of money, you cannot qualify for any programs, any kind of financial relief, as soon as you're $1 over that threshold. So lower income people are more likely to get the help, while middle Americans are, really suffering the squeeze, right? The middle class is also less likely than higher income peers to have enough disposable funds to cover those high deductibles and high out of pocket costs, right? A couple of weeks ago, we had a show delving or going deeper into health insurance. And so that you can understand some of those terms that can be tricky, right? You may have a health insurance policy that has a pretty low or affordable enough premium per month, but still find yourself not being able to get proper medical care because it has a high deductible that you have to meet before anything can happen, before you can see a doctor, before you can see the specialist. And if you have to do that, if you have, a deductible of $1,200 or $1,500 per person, or whatever it is per family, if you don't have that money, now what do you do, right? So sometimes people still avoid going for care because of that, and then when they do, they end up with that responsibility of those bills that are super high, or a maximum out of pocket of $8,000 or $10,000. You may not have that sitting around or lying around to be able to pay that out before the insurance company will kick in if you had something major wrong with you, right? So medical debt hits families hard on many fronts. It makes it hard to get health care. It overwhelms the middle class's budget. It prevents them from getting a mortgage and definitely prevents them from building generational wealth, especially for black families, right? And you guys know, I always say when America is hit by a cold, Black America gets the flu, okay? So, Black and Hispanic middle class Americans are more likely to have unpaid health care bills than their white and Asian peers. Also, they found that Black, Hispanic, and Asian middle class Americans have higher rates of medical debt than their lower income counterparts. So when the middle class is now trying to get a home, all that stuff shows up on their report, and they're not even able to get a home so that they can live properly, right? Nearly 38% of Black and just over 25% of Hispanic middle class have medical debt, respectively. And that compares with 20% or 20.4% of white and 16% of Asian middle class people. Okay, so Black people, Hispanic people, of course, Black at 38, almost 40%, and the Hispanic people at 25%, they're carrying medical debt, whereas close to whereas compared with the white Americans, it's less than 20% or about 20%, and Asian 16%. So this is another reason why I want to talk to you about some things that you can do while you are healthy to help to prevent things like this from happening. All right. The article goes on to say, while middle class college graduates have some medical debt, their share is far lower than those who did not go to or finish college. Some 16.5% of those with at least a bachelor's degree have unpaid medical debt, but more than a quarter of those with less education have healthcare debt, right? So maybe because we're furthering our education, we're looking at getting additional information about healthcare, about wealth care, about how money works, about what we need to do to protect our income, and these things that some people that are more educated or are more exposed to that education are able to protect themselves somewhat. All right. But today, it doesn't matter who you are. I am going to show you or tell you or give you some things that you can do to protect yourself. Now, they said senior citizens, though senior citizens are more likely to have higher healthcare costs, they have lower rates of medical debt thanks to Medicare coverage. Now, Medicare coverage is going to be a topic for another night. You guys know that I am an expert when it comes to Medicare, and I can help you with that. And if you didn't know, now you know, so put it down. But so because of Medicare, only 14.4% of those age 65 and over have unpaid medical bills. And that's because there are certain steps that they can make to help them with those unpaid medical bills when you are a senior and have Medicare coverage. But like I said, that's for another day. All right. Addressing medical debt. Higher healthcare costs have long been one of Americans' biggest financial headaches. More attention is now being paid to the issue of medical debt. Last month, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the U.S. Department of Treasury launched an inquiry into medical credit cards and other specialty financial products that can leave patients with high costs and debt burdens. Because those credit cards that care credit and things like that, you go in and you use it. Those things have 25 and 30% interest. Those are like the mob loans or something. That's what I think, right? So so they are now looking at that. Some 88 billion in medical bills, 88 billion with a B, appear on consumer credit reports. So that's why it's important. What I talked about, that the Biden administration is trying to make sure that that does not appear on credit reports, especially for families that are trying to purchase a home. All right. So some 88 billion in medical bills appear on consumer credit reports, though the total amount of medical debt is likely higher than 88 billion, y'all. And that's according to a report that the Bureau issued last year. 3 of the nation's largest credit reporting agencies have been taking steps to reduce the impact of medical debt, which can make it harder for consumers to gain access to credit. Because when you have some bad credit score, it's not just about credit, right? Make it unable to get proper credit, but it also affects not just your credit, but it affects access or for you to be able to secure employment. Not only that, housing, right? So there's a lot of things that this is affecting. Unpaid bills can also prompt them to avoid medical care in the future. Because if you were hit with a $30,000 bill for something, you're going to think twice before seeking medical help, which can only lead to even worse things in the future, right? So it's absolutely important that we think of some things that we can do. So here, continuing with the article, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion said last year that they will no longer include medical debt that went to collections on consumer credit reports once it had been paid off. That's good. That's good. And that will eliminate billions of dollars of debt, nearly 70% on consumer records. In addition, unpaid medical collection debt won't appear on credit reports for the first year, whereas the previous grace period was 6 months. And this will give people more time to work with their health insurers or providers to address those bills. So what the Biden administration is doing is trying to get rid of it altogether. So as of the first half of this year, medical collection debt of less than $500 will no longer be included on credit reports, the credit reporting agency said. So listen, we have to understand that right now we're healthy, right? Nothing is going on with us. We are, so this is not bothering us. But what we have to do is plan. We have to understand how things work, how money works, how this can affect us in the future. So, number one, especially you have a job, is getting protection on your income for disability, right? Disability income. You guys have seen some of the commercials, what I'm talking, Aflac or whatever, that protects you in the event that you become unable to perform your job or to perform your occupation or to perform any occupation. This is something that you can do while, as long as you have a job. You want to make sure that you have something that's protecting you if you are unable to work due to some sort of illness, if you're unable to perform your job or perform any job the duties of any job is one way of doing that. And that's something that you can sit and speak with a professional, someone like myself who covers both disability and health insurance. Um, we can sit down and look at what works for you. All right. Additionally, there are life insurance policies that come with what's called living benefits. You've heard me say these are life insurance policies you don't have to die for to use, or your family to use, right? You're able to use it while you are alive. So many of these things come with living benefits in the form of riders, and those riders may protect you in the event of a terminal illness, a chronic illness, a critical illness, or critical injury. It all depends on the policy, on what it covers, what it if it even covers it. Not every insurance policy is the same, so they're not made equal at all. But it's important to have something that if you are going to be out of work for 6 months or more, and you're going to have medical bills or medical debt, that you will have something to take care of that, so you do not fall into bankruptcy. And then it affects everything else. It's affecting the fact that you're unable to buy a home. It's affecting the fact that you can't get proper um, employment. It's affecting the fact that you can't even get proper housing. It's affecting the fact that you can't even get proper life insurance with these kinds of coverages, because they are looking at your credit reports. So it's absolutely important that we do certain things. So schedule an appointment, even if you just want to talk, you just want to know, hey, let me talk to me a little bit more about what you were talking about the last time. And I'm talking to you 30-year-old. I'm talking to you 25-year-old. I'm talking to you healthy person that nothing has happened and I don't get sick person. I am talking to you. All right. So that we can make a plan for the future. All right. So, what is it? Yep, just been talking a little bit more than 20 minutes or so. I want to come on and talk a little bit about this, which is absolutely important. And reach out to me if you would like to know what things you can do to protect yourself from falling into debt due to medical or health issues, right? Uh, that's it for tonight. Love you. Talk to you soon. Carmen, from the Big Facts Money Show, signing off, and see you next Wednesday.